Alright. Well, not much of anything when it comes down to Skip this morning. It's Wednesday, February 20th. It's probably about 45 minutes after 10 in the morning. Hell, me doing some of these blogs is really, I'm just kind of talking to myself. Because I don't really have a whole bunch of subscribers. But, and for the few subscribers I do have for my channel, which is, I don't know, 5, I think. Thank you for that. And, I hope you like some of the content. I might put some other stuff on there because I need to get back out in my shop and make some more knives and stuff. So I might do some more. Might do some videos of me out there working in the shop. But this is one of the other main reasons why I wanted to get on here this morning was there's a man out there. Who has got a YouTube channel called Bear Independent, and he just recently, I think it was last weekend, came down here to Panama City, down here where I'm at. I mean, not in my immediate area, but down here in Panama City, where a lot of people after Hurricane Michael are still really struggling with a lot of the bare essentials, like, food, water, shelter, a place to take a shit, wash yourself, simple little things like that everybody really takes for granted. All right, and it's, been 4 months? Something like that, 4 going on 5 months or something like that since Hurricane Michael, and a lot of people lost the house that they were living in, so they're basically homeless, and then also the job where they used to work. That probably a lot of people's businesses got blown away with the hurricane. So some people lost their house and their job all in one swoop, and the government really ain't doing shit. FEMA are leaving soon. They're pulling resources and funding and all that shit, like within the next couple of weeks. And I have to commend Bear for putting it out there and actually. He came down here and got a group of people together, and he helped some people while he was down here, and helped feed them and helped quite a bit. I personally wasn't involved, but I was watching his videos while he was doing it. I was kind of busy doing what I had to do here at home and keep him working and stuff, so I wasn't able to go down there and help him either. But there's a lot of people, and I mean, I'm a little bit more fortunate. My house is still intact. I didn't have a tree fall on it, or it didn't get blown away like some people's out there. But I got a buddy of mine, 514, that I talk on the radio. I don't know if you've heard him on some of the videos or not, but 514, he lost his house. He's like a damn, kind of like a Wizard of Oz thing. It just kind of picked up and blew away. I mean, so until just, what was it? I think a couple of weeks ago. Until then, I think he was basically couch surfing. I mean, he was staying here at my place for a while, and then staying at another buddy's house over there for a while, and then he finally got into another place, and so he's trying to pick things back up and get back together, but kind of starting from nothing again, and in debt. I mean, you know, that's another thing too, man. On top of all the stuff you got to put up with daily, you know, just living, the compound stress of the debt that accumulates. Oh my gosh. And it's crazy. And I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, like I said, the government ain't going to do shit for you. They really don't give a crap about you. They really, really don't. The corporation does not, they consider you nothing but property anyway. They don't give a shit if you're happy or not. They're just gonna, if they're going to do anything, they're going to try and provide you the bare minimum. Technically, if you start looking into it and all that stuff, man, and doing the research, when it comes down to the history and the law and our Constitution and how things are written and supposed to be, which are not being done this way, been veering away from it for over 100 years. And they don't care. And the mainstream media, the worldwide mainstream media, don't give a shit either. You know, they really don't. You don't see anything about it. Nothing. Very little. I mean, you know, you see a little bit here on the local news, but, you know, because that's what's locally going on, and that creates a news story, so they do something. But, man, they don't say or anything. I mean, you know, and I know we're not the only place where a freaking hurricane or some disaster happens. I mean, it's kind of like the damn fires over there in California now. There's parts of California, I don't give a shit if the whole damn thing falls in the fucking ocean, man. Seriously. But, like they call it the campfire, which is all bullshit. The evidence, when you look at the actual, you know, the actual evidence that of what was burned and how hot it, by the evidence of what, like, you know, rims on a damn vehicle melting, creating puddles of aluminum or whatever, you know, dripping down. I mean, even if you, seriously, you light a tire on fire that's on the rim, and you let it sit there and burn and blah, 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 it's not going to get hot enough to melt the fucking rim. It's not going to get hot enough to melt the aluminum out of the fucking engine. There's not enough there to burn to get hot enough to melt that aluminum or melt that engine block or whatever. And then on top of that, how can you have a forest fire when majority of the grass and trees around didn't burn, and the only thing that was burned to the ground to ashes was the homes, was the houses? Alright. See, and that's another media blackout bullshit. And I commend all those other people out there that are doing stuff on YouTube, that are actually taking footage and putting it out there for people to see. Because, I mean, I got no proof on anything, and I mean, seriously, man, it's a crazy, wild, crazy idea to even think it. But, you know, with all this modern technology and weather modification and stuff like that, it wouldn't surprise me if the hurricane, because honestly, man, you really didn't notice anything about this hurricane until like a day or two before it actually hit land and shit. I mean, seriously, it was like, for me, I don't remember hearing anything about it until about 3 days before it fucking hit. You know, and it was like, holy shit, all of a sudden it's there in the Gulf, right there at us. But and then on top of that, Panama City or around this the Gulf Coast out here in the Panhandle was a big influence on the election. So I mean, you know, you take out a big population of the voters, and you know, create problem, reaction, solution, scenario. Now, like I said, that's a crazy, wild, crazy, harebrained idea that somehow some entity, some out there was actually artificially creating a hurricane to wipe out a good portion of the Panhandle just so they don't vote or the votes get, you know, changed because of it. You know. But anyway, that's crazy. But even then, you know, yeah, it's just like I said, thank you, Bear, for doing what you do, and I hope you keep it up. And I hope you actually keep up when it comes down to exposing what's going on down here in Panama City. And exposing what, like the FEMA, for instance. FEMA, holy shit, dude. You know, I mean, I'm not surprised in some respects they didn't do the same thing over here that they did in Katrina. It just, I mean, you know, there was some parts, man. My buddy out there, his house that blew away is out there in Callaway, and I'm gonna tell you, there's some areas out there just south of where he's at that got pretty rough, you know, and I don't know. Luckily, where I'm at, I have a pond. So I at least have a place where I can go down there and wash my ass if I wanted to, you know, because the power was out. I mean, the power was out here for almost 2 weeks. You know, it was a little over a week and a half. Which really, you know, you start thinking about it. Just turn your fucking power off. Turn every bit of your electricity off and do it for a week. You'll really understand what's... I mean, and then on top of that, it depends on what time of year. Hell, when that hurricane happened, it was fucking hot. Air conditioning was a big deal. Refrigeration was a big deal. I mean, because if you even have food, just trying to keep it damn cold. I mean, like if you had, if you needed medication and that had to be cold, that was another thing, that's trying to keep refrigeration going. You know, me, I got my radio and my radio equipment and some lights running off of batteries. And right now, while I have power to the grid, I've got a trickle charger keeping them things up. But during the hurricane, I've got solar panels, like some cheap Harbor Freight deals, but it was enough to keep my batteries topped off and keep the radio going, where I was on the air through the whole hurricane as it was happening and after the fact, while everybody's power was out. And I was still able to communicate with very few, because almost everybody around here got knocked out and, you know, lost their antennas and towers and all that shit, or lost their house or whatever, you know what I mean? This is almost everybody. But there's probably about a handful of us here locally that are back on the air. But I was on the air through the whole thing. And when the power was out, I still had power because I had my batteries being topped off by solar. And, but it was not enough to run my air conditioner. It was not enough to run my refrigerator. It was not enough to run the well, the pump for the well. But so that, you know, just for instance, those, and even like, you know, now that's another thing too. I could retrofit. There's some spot I can probably clear out here in the house where I could probably put like a little tiny, like, little tiny homemade like potbelly type wood burning stove or something like that. So the winter time I won't have to worry about the heater. But the summertime, you know, because this past summer was freaking hot. But the summertime, just trying to stay cool, you know, because, you know, air conditioning or whatever, fans, whatever. you lose that power, you lose that electricity, and you have no way of, man, you have no way, like for instance, the power goes out, man, you can't pump gas. You can't put gas in your generator when it goes out, because if you ain't got no gas with the pumps, you can't fucking get gas to put it. So you got a gasoline generator, you're dependent on the gas pumps. And when and if and when it goes blinking out, and there's nobody, no big convoy of trucks coming down to pick the, to fix everything and put the power back on. If that's not coming in, you're kind of you're dependent on what you have in fuel to run that generator. So yeah, and I think that's like one of the last videos that even Bear was talking about is what some of the things that he learned in his visit down here in Panama City, when it comes down to what needs to be thought about and prepared for if the shit ever hit the fan. Like if everything just blinks out. You know what I mean? And which it's most likely probably going to happen pretty damn soon. I couldn't tell you when, but my gut has been telling me that yeah, something's going to happen. Something bigger than 9/11. And it's probably going to be like to begin with, like the power is just going to blink out, and there's not going to be a convoy of trucks coming down here to fix the power poles, and it'll be out for a while. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, which hope and fear is empty concepts in my opinion. But I'm hoping the best and expecting the worst. And the worst being it being out for years. Because honestly, man, if you get into all this New World Order, Illuminati, whatever, this bullshit, and if you're familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, they want to kill off 90 to 95% of the population so they can have their select few and keep them for slaves. One of the ways that I think they're going to try and do it is just blink the electricity out, wait about a year, do a kind of like a sweep through, go back digging it, go back into their hole, wait another year, and come back out and do it another time, and then wait a little bit longer, probably about another year, and then come back in and then try to implement some kind of their own government. And anything that's left over, they're going to try and claim as theirs. Well, like I said, when it blinks out, people are going to need a lot of things, and food, water, shelter are the three main things right off the bat people need to be thinking about. Anyway, like I said, thank you to all my subscribers, all 5 of you, or 7 of you, or something like that. I think it's 5 to 6 or 7 of people on there to subscribe to me, or something like that. Thank you for subscribing. There really wasn't any skip. There hasn't been any skip for a couple of days. So I've been hearing pretty much nothing but locals and static. But, like I said, I was just watching another one of Bear's videos, and I had to mention it. Alright, you guys, well, if any skip does come in or anything like that, I'll pop back in. And like I said, if I get off my butt and get out there in the shop and start making anything, man, I'll take a video or two of me out there in the shop. So y'all take it easy out there in Radio Land. Double one, double two, Wingnut Radio out here in Panama City, Florida. I'll be on the site.